Welcome back to Gene and Roger Talk Movies. Today we are talking about May. Came out in 2002, starring the lovely Angela Bettis, directed by Lucky McGee, his first true
I think written by that
full
guy
film.
too.
Yep, he is pretty much a writer-director. But as usual, before I talk about what the movie's about, we have to see how much Gene hates this one. Gene, where are you at with May?
Yeah, it starts off with a very dysfunctional family, and I had to actually do some research because it turns out that you were talking about a really weird mom and a kid who has lazy eye, and so I had to do some research into lazy eye, and I guess one of the treatments is to put a patch over. It's kind of interesting getting a little background because we actually see, we think we see with our little eyeballs, but actually, no, we actually see with our brains. And so sometimes if an eye is not functioning correctly, like mechanically, think of it like an instrument, the brain will stop using that eye. And actually then that eye will become non-functional and you'll only really see out of the good or dominant eye. And so a strategy for lazy eye is that they'll actually put a patch over the strong eye. So it forces your brain to use the quote unquote lazy eye to strengthen it, so that your vision is restored, and so that brain will use the visual inputs out of both eyes. So I actually had to do research because this girl has a lazy eye, but actually doing the research, it seems like that particular strategy for mitigating lazy eye is actually not well recommended for this very reason this movie gets into, because it can lead to a lot of social catastrophic results, sending kids to school with patches over their eyes. And, and this movie, well, we see maybe the fallout from that. Well, this little kid goes to a patch over her eye, and I think the theme of this movie is all about, it's about May. And at first, Roger, I was I kind of didn't know where this movie was going. And it's like, this is your idea.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, what in the world? It's like, I'm just going to tell Roger. I go in through 10 minutes, and that was it. But then, lo and behold, the movie is kind of this slow intro with this kid, and all of a sudden, boom, we're with the kid as the kid is turned into an adult, and the movie just almost overnight gets a lot better. And then all of a sudden, who shows up in this movie? Anna Faris. Right. It was like, what in the world? It's like, she's known for the Scary Movie franchise, and I love that first movie, the Scary Movie. It's just brilliant. I love that thing. And then all of a sudden, Anna Faris is in this thing, and I'm just like, dude. And it's shot in California, Southern California, at the same time that I was living there. And it's like, dude. Okay, I'm paying more attention to this, but I think the theme of this movie is just like this theme of this movie appears in a lot of different movies. In particular, J.J. Abrams' Super 8 movie. It's just that you could live your whole life surrounded by people, and you don't really understand them, or you have conversations with people, but you're just moving past them. And the whole idea is actually, and they use the phrase in this movie, the same as in J.J. Abrams' Super 8, is that do we ever actually see people? Do we ever see them? And the word see means to really know them. Do we pay attention to them? And, the main character in this movie, nobody really sees her. She feels that. And I think it starts off with that vision problem. And maybe she doesn't even see herself. But mainly other people just don't see her, and it leads to a lot of bad events.
Right. Well, and she definitely doesn't see herself because she's living through that doll.
Yeah, the mother gives her a doll, and the mother very weirdly gives her the doll in this glass case,
right?
Which leads to some crazy stuff later. And this movie's horror comedy for sure, because lots of things happen which are just so funny. And so the doll is in a case, and so the mother gives the doll to the girl. Little girl, what little girls do with dolls? They hold them, and they caress them like they're babies. But the mom says, no, you can't. It's got to stay in the case.
Right. The doll can never come out of the case.
It's like, come on. It's going to mess up your little daughter right there. But yeah, this doll we see a lot of this doll.
Well, and did you catch the fact that the doll's speaking to her? There's very muffled dialogue at the early parts where you can hear that there is voices.
Yeah, there's that, and also the case is cracking later. Like maybe the doll is trying to warn her, or she's trying to break out. I'm not quite sure the imagery there, but something is trying to get in, or something's trying to get out. So the case is getting broken.
Well, it's definitely, you don't want this doll to come out because, of course, May at the end dresses like the doll and then does her thing. But I do like this film a lot because of...
I think I like it for different reasons.
I like it, probably, but I like it because it does set up the loneliness aspect of the May character, which plays into your do we even see people? And I also think the do we even see people plays into the Jeremy Sisto character who she kind of has a crush on and wants to try to date.
Adam?
Mm-hmm. He at one point...
I like that guy as the John Travolta, as a young, very young John Travolta-ish character guy. Yeah, which you really like that guy, and are total likable characters in this movie.
But agreed. But there's two sequences where the Adam character and then the Polly character, who is Anna Faris, basically say, oh, no, I like weird. May is basically telling them, hey, I'm kind of weird. And
they said that's this movie is full of, like, quotes that are really great.
Right, and they don't understand exactly the depths of weirdness that May possesses. I also love the line of dialogue where nothing freaks me out, because the Adam character is showing her his room, and it has some disturbing posters and things. There's actually a poster for Dario Argento's opera on there, and he's actually going to see the movie Trauma, which I thought was great at one point, if you've seen those movies. But
Roger, nobody's seen those
movies.
No,
everybody has seen those.
Nobody's seen those movies, Roger.
But I like how she's giving them clues as to, no, I'm telling you the truth. I'm pretty weird, but they're thinking of it as something entirely different.
Oh, funny, like Halloween weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's this one part Polly is... It's like asking May, I'm like, oh, what are you going to do for Halloween? You know, while she's carving this pumpkin. And then while she was talking and then May is responding, she gets the little carving knife. She stabs it into the pumpkin. You know, and I just thought it was really weird.
Well, and May's really weird, too, where often when May meets somebody, she'll compliment them, but it's weird compliments. Like the Polly character, she says,
I like your neck.
I like your neck.
And then Polly takes it as like, oh, because she's a little like, you know, she's a little, I think, on the bi spectrum there. And so, yeah, so she's like, oh, can we should hang out and eat some melons.
Right.
And there are other great lines where Polly is like, hey, May, can you tell me what a scoople is?
Right.
Because they work at this vet clinic, right? And this veterinarian is some guy from the old country, and he slurs his vowels, and so he really means scalpel. So May helps her out. It's not scoople, it's scalpel. And then there's this kissing couple in the elevator, and it turns out that Adam has made a home movie. It's just like the greatest thing. And it's just like we see this couple kissing in the elevator, and then May's right there, and yeah, Roger, parts of this movie, you just wonder some movies, like, how did they ever get this thing done? Because it would have been so funny. How can you just, like, make it through a shoot and not just... Every shoot would take, like, 30 takes.
Well, but
because it's just, everything's just so funny. Can you imagine that, shooting that scene in the elevator? Like, how many takes that took? It's like, God...
Well, but I also think the power of this film, just like you kind of alluded to, plays in with the quality of the acting that's going on here. Angela Bettis is all in on this role.
Oh, she does a
May.
great job.
And I think Lucky McGee is all in on the story he's trying to tell here. And I just really think it comes out as this dreamlike kind of movie that's almost like a fairy tale gone bad, and There's just so many great things in this film.
Mm-hmm. But Roger, I don't know if I take it on a serious level, like I think like you do.
Mm-hmm.
I see this movie has the theme of seeing people, definitely, and May is definitely an outcast of her, partially of her own creation, partially of her upbringing. I mean, I think we've talked about this before, but there's a psychological concept that, or one of my psychology teachers said, is that you should in your life be really, really careful on the parents you pick. Right. And so May turned out on the parent lottery. She didn't come up on a winner on that. But yeah, I just see this as a horror comedy. It has the great themes, but it's just so much funny things going on here. Like at the vet clinic, there's this customer comes in and says, "Hey, like yesterday, my dog, he had 4 legs. And then today I look at my dog and he only has 3. Can you help me out?" And then later on in the movie, he brings the dog's leg in. I mean, it's a ghastly image. It's a severed leg. Yeah. And he says, can you reattach it? Can you put it back on? And does this inspire me? Maybe she's really into sewing, and maybe it's like, oh, I can sew things together, Yeah. And so, yeah. And then we get a little bit into like, a little like love of pain thing, because
is it a love of pain, or is it a release of her emotions? Right, she is purposely cutting herself.
Yep, she's cutting herself,
and
she likes it, and then she shows Polly, and then she cuts Polly, and then Polly's like, "Oh, I really like this,"
because I really think this the lazy eye stuff, because it does, like Gene said, there's a 3-minute maybe opening sequence where it's about her as a small child. She's completely ostracized by her classmates. She has no friends. She's fallen off into the realm of no one wants to be around her. I don't know how weird she actually was at that point. But then she has the mom that does the...
Yeah, I think the mom has done a lot of damage to her.
Mom absolutely has done a lot of damage to her. She is now... the fact that she was able to get a job at a vet clinic is kind of surprising to me, because she has tremendous difficulty coming across at all as normal. You really have to overlook a lot of stuff about her to think she's normal.
Yeah, I can kind of see that happen, because she likes animals, clearly, and then the owner of the pet clinic, again, is from some maybe Eastern European country, and he doesn't speak English well, and maybe May just said the right things in the interview, and he's like, okay, I need somebody, here we are.
Well, she seems to have difficulty actually talking, though, when she meets somebody, because the Adam character, she has great difficulty actually communicating. She just stands there and smiles or looks different.
Yeah, that could be just her awkwardness of being around somebody of the opposite sex, which I think she has no experience with at all.
Well, she definitely doesn't, because all of her experience has been taught by the Stacy doll, which is encased in glass.
Right.
And May has sequestered herself basically into this house or this apartment or whatever it is, and she's surrounded by other little dolls, and she has conversations with Stacy. The reason, the seamstress part, well, that fits in perfectly with you're making your own clothes and you're not going out into public and this and that. And
she does try to get out more in the public, like later, because she sees these blind kids in a park. And then she goes to the blind kid clinic, and then she talks to the front desk receptionist, who's amazingly hostile.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I be a volunteer here? And so she's accepted as a volunteer. Yeah, it was really strange.
But I also thought, though, of course she's going to be hanging out with the blind kids, which plays right into your they can't see me, and so there's no criticism of me. They will accept me.
Yeah, and they do until May brings her doll in, and then she has the blind kids go ahead and touch the doll, but they're just saying, "Oh, this is just a box," and they're just like, "Oh, they're really interested. And they want to touch the box," and then they somehow grab the box away, which is the glass case away from May, and of course, they're just kids, and they drop it, and there's glass just all over the place, and then there's kids, and then they trip and they fall, and they're there's glass all over, and so they
Right.
fall on their little hands. They fall in the glass, and there's just blood all over the place, and because it's the little kids bleeding. And they got their little knees scraped and bleeding, and hands are bleeding, and yeah, it's a pretty catastrophic scene.
Well, mainly because the blind kids like turn into zombies almost with their lust for trying to get this doll out of the cage.
And they get this doll, and they
It's
just tear this doll to shreds. Its arms are torn off, and it's ripped to shreds, and yeah, it's a pretty bad day for me.
Well, yeah, it actually is the true beginning of her complete downward spiral.
Right.
I do need to point out that those cat lovers out there, May is gifted a cat.
She is gifted a cat by Polly, but it doesn't turn out well.
Right.
Because during the scene with the blind kids, one of the blind kids makes May an ashtray of all things. And then the cat's meowing, and then May throws the ashtray at the kitty.
Yeah. Well, after she's had her bad day, she's asking for the cat to come over, and it doesn't, being a cat. And then
she kills the kitty when she throws the ashtray, which I don't think would happen. Cats are, I don't know if you're throwing an ashtray at a kitty would kill it.
Well,
she kills this kitty. This kitty's dead.
Mm-hmm.
She puts it in the refrigerator.
She puts it in the freezer eventually
Yeah.
after it started stinking up, so she was spraying it with Lysol.
Right.
Didn't quite know what to do.
It's in the refrigerator. Adam comes over, sees it. Yeah, what in the heck is going on here?
Right, and so obviously her relationship with Adam is short-lived. He eventually realizes that she is maybe dangerous because she kind of draws blood on him.
No, they are in his apartment. I think just right after watching the movie.
Yeah, she enjoys the movie.
We talk about this movie in a movie. We've got to talk about this little thing.
It's called Jack and Jill.
And it's the same couple that was kissing in the elevator, and somehow we see this couple again kissing. I think in the elevator, right? Again. Mm-hmm. But the movie's all about them just kissing. And I think I thought of the movie Raw and Night of the Living Dead when I was watching this little movie within a movie. And it's shot in black and white, and this couple, they're in a park, and, you know, they really are, they're all into each other, right? And so they just start kissing each other, but a little too aggressively, and this blood starts coming, and then the girl bites the guy's finger off, and then she chews it and swallows it, and all kinds of stuff. Like I think she bites his arm and bites into the flesh, and there's blood, which is straight out of Raw and Night of the Living Dead as well. But then Adam asks May, I'm like, what'd you think of this movie? And she's like, I thought it was really unrealistic. I don't think she could chew his whole finger. In just
could bite
bites.
it all off with one bite.
Right, so she's like...
Well, and she also said, I thought it was sweet.
Yeah, and he's like, sweet? Really? What? Yeah, it's not meant to be sweet.
It was a good example of a UC Berkeley student film, however, so...
Yeah, there's a great song in the movie, and it's just like, the movie is just great. Just love it. But again, I think, again, the great theme, I don't know if I can't take this movie totally seriously, but it's good. It's a good watch. I would recommend it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and so I do want to talk about the end, because once the doll case has been broken and Adam has made it clear that not only does he think she's weird and he's glad to be away from her, the cat has died.
Yep.
Polly has been discovered to be in another relationship with another woman. Her name is Ambrosia, and so that bothers May. And then what happens is May creates a Stacy dress, like her doll, makes up her face to look like Stacy, completely changes her personality to be quote unquote, a normal person who can communicate and is actually assertive and confident. And then she goes on a little bit of a killing spree.
Yeah, she kills 4 people, including Polly and Adam, which is a drag because you just like those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then she's kind of reminds me of another movie. In the movie American Graffiti, there's no scenes about 2 characters are off in the woods, and the one woman character just talking about the goat killer, and the goat killer kills people, And then she rearranges the body parts, like the head of one person is put on the body of another person, and then the leg of one person is put on the body of another person. You know, they're all mismatched. And so then then May gets all the body parts from her 4 victims, and she matches them together and sews them all together. And you see her sewing them together. And then at the end, you have this creation, and she puts like these eyes that had been like drawn on rocks, kind of thing, on the head. Yeah, it's pretty gruesome sight.
Well, and I enjoyed the fact that she was gathering up when she goes to see Adam again because she wants his hands. Adam,
of course, she uses Adam's hands.
yeah,
yes,
and she's like, "Oh, I'm not here to see you, and I'm here to see your hands," basically.
Right.
And so she's gathering Polly's neck and Adam's hands and all sorts of stuff that she thought were the good parts.
At the end, she realizes in a very ironic way is that she's created like the person she wants, but that person that she created still can't see her. You know, and so she gets a sharp pair of scissors. Yeah, she stabs herself in her own eye, takes out one of her eyes, and puts it onto the corpsey thing. You know, and then she lays down next to it, and then we start to see the arm of the corpse start moving, and yeah.
Well, and I did like the fact that the eye that she removed was her lazy eye, which maybe in her mind was the cause of all of her trouble.
Yeah.
Well, and she's even screaming before she does that, you know, that she can't be seen, nobody can see her.
Yeah.
You can't see me, and so she decides to do that.
Yeah.
But I think the acting across the board in this film is top notch. Angela Bettis, who I really like a lot, in every movie I've seen of hers, she just gives everything she's got to the character, which I can't imagine any other actress that would make this movie work like she does, because she's all in. And I also think Jeremy Sisto is the perfect boyfriend for her for this in this role.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not taking this seriously as you, Roger, for sure. I think this movie's good. It's entertaining. It's a lot of fun stuff going on here. You know, it does have like I said, a little deeper message. Yeah, and I just think they're up and coming, you know, actors, actresses who want to do well and, you know, want to impress people with their acting ability and just want to move on to the next project successfully. You know, so I think. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Angela
yeah,
Bettis.
I don't see Academy Award performing.
No one's talking that.
Yeah.
Angela Bettis was already established as an actress. This wasn't her first role.
Yeah. Would I recommend this movie? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's fun. It's a lot of fun stuff going on here. A lot of great lines. Like I said, it's like, should we hang out? Oh, let's eat some melons. Stuff like that. This movie is populated with lines like that.
It's a very weird presentation for sure. It's a movie that you don't see a lot of films presented this way.
Yeah, and then Polly, Anna Faris character, she's just great. I mean, in typical Anna Faris fashion, she's, you know, the queen of comedy, and it's just, she dominates every scene that she's in, and it's good stuff.
Right, and she's not necessarily going for slapstick crazy comedy. It all fits within the realm of this world that May lives in, and I would highly recommend this film. I've seen it many times, and I'm glad that Gene agreed to watch it.
Yeah, I've seen it once, and will I see it again? Probably not. Yeah.
So, sort of an okay recommendation from Gene, and of course, I highly recommend it.
I was really surprised that Anna Faris was in this movie, because I looked at the who was in the movie, and I didn't see anybody I recognized. And then all of a sudden she's there. Like, what?
Right.
In that world? How did this happen?
You got to make your money, right? So,
and I just got to say, I love Scary Movie 1. Just the other ones, they really try, but they just don't capture the brilliance that one is.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
The whole Usual Suspects thing is just great.
But Gene, you are
great
on vacation next week.
Yeah, I'm out next week, so you're gonna do be with Tyken.
Yeah, Tyken.
Review some piece of garbage, maybe like what's the Winnie the Pooh and Honey Part 2.
Well, we aren't gonna do that one. We're gonna do Totally Killer, which if you haven't seen that one,
don't watch it.
Oh, actually, Gene,
No, no,
I'm going to say, so
no.
here's what it is. It is a time travel movie where a
Dear
person has
Lord.
to go back to the 80s to try to prevent a mass killing. And so it's a horror comedy for sure. You actually probably would be okay with it, but this is the one Tyken wants to do. He kind of didn't go for my ideas, but we'll do that one. And I also noticed that
Well, if you got any time travel, go to some interesting period of time. Like what's the interesting period? Like maybe like the United States right before the Civil War. You check out the antebellum South, the industrial North, or the America during the Revolution. Or you could go
well,
back to
Gene,
maybe to Italy during the Renaissance.
Gene,
Meet Galileo.
keep in
But
mind,
no, you go to the 80s. Like what the?
keep in
It's
mind,
messed up.
we're talking little cheap slasher movies. Okay, we don't
It's
have
making me mad.
we don't have the $100 million budget to
It's
recreate
making me mad
Renaissance
already
Italy.
thinking about it. I'm glad that I'm not going to be there next week. Tyke and watch that garbage.
All right. Well, we will catch you next week. Actually, Gene won't. It'll be myself and Tyken, who hasn't been with us for like 11 months. So
Is it? No,
Yeah.
is it? What?
I was looking back, and it was 11 months ago that he was last
Oh,
on
my
the thing.
gosh.
So it's been a while. But
Okay.
anyway, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Bye bye.
Right.